Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. So our report for today is about dividend policy. Next slide, please. So, ang dividend kay money ang share sa mga shareholders if magka-profit ilang company. So, kay nag-investment sila sa kaning nga kumpanya, syempre naabot sila ibahin nga madawat. Next, please. Next, correct. So, what is a dividend policy? Next, correct. So, a dividend policy dictates the amount of dividends paid out by the company to its shareholders and the frequency with which the dividends are paid out. When a company makes a profit, they need to make a decision on what to do with it. So mag-decide pa ang kumpanya kung how much profit to be given to shareholders in the form of dividend and how much amount to be retained by the company. So mag-decide pa sila about kung i-full nila distribute ilang profit sa mga shareholders. Kung i-full nila distribute ang ilang profit sa ilang shareholders. So wala na mabilin nga funds para sa kumpanya na pang reinvest nila or pang capital if naa sila plano magbuhat og pang bagong project in the future. So kung naay plano ang kumpanya to purchase some asset in the future or mag-expand sila, medyo nila i-increase ilang capital na mag-result na lesser nga dividend ang mabayad sa kumpanya sa ilang mga shareholders. Next slide please. So same sa next pakit. Naay for example of dividend policy. First is regular dividend, stable dividend, regular dividend, and no dividend. So ang next reporter na mag-report na. Next slide please. What is dividend? So same ra ang gingon niya na ang dividend kay ang madawat na sa shareholders and ilang bahin sa profit sa kumpanya. Then the management must use the profit to satisfy its stakeholders. Pero ginatagan nila first preference ang equity shareholders kay mas dako ilang ma-encounter na risk. So next slide please.
So, good morning everyone. Madunggan lang ba ko, ma'am?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Thank you. So, diri kay I will discuss ang mga kanang formula sa dividend payout. So, first is net income times dividend payout ratio. So, next slide please. For example, a company with a net income of 5,000 and a dividend payout ratio of 0.40, calculate the total dividend paid out to the current shareholders of the company. So ang atoang net income diri is $5,000 and atoang payout ratio is 0.4. So unsaon man nato siya i-times nato silang duha para makuha ang ang ratio ang dividend payout ratio. Next ko please. So, mauna ni siya. Dividend, ang dividend, which is ang net income is, 5,000 times 0.4. Ang result is 2,000. So, mauna siya ang ihatag sa shareholders. Kay 0.4 man ang atong ratio, ang equivalent ana sa 5,000 is 2,000 ang ihatag sa shareholders. So, therefore, the company paid out total dividends of 2,000 to the current shareholders. Next, please. Example number 2. The company with net earnings of $60,000 during the year 2020 has decided to retain $48,000 in the business while paying out the remaining to the shareholders in the form of dividends. Based the given information, calculate the total dividend payout ratio of the company during the current year. Next, please. So, naadjud siya ang kuan ang total ang gipangayo diri ang kuan is ang dividend payout ratio. So, naadjud siya kanang tawag ani formula na pa siya sa ubos, pero ang formula jud sa kuan sa payout ratio is total dividends divided by net income. Since wala man tay total dividends pa, kinahanglan sa nato siya kwaon. So, ang atong formula na gamiton is dividend paid to the shareholders is equal to net earnings minus retained earnings. So, ang atuang net earnings man is 60,000, i-minus nato siya sa 48,000 para makuha ang total dividends. So, mao ni siya 12,000 ang i-paid para sa shareholders. Next, please. Okay. Since nakuha naman nato ang total dividends, kuhaon na nato ang payout, ang ilahang ratio. So, mao ni siya ang formula, guys. Dividend paid to the shareholders divided by net income. Dividend paid to shareholders or total dividends is 12,000. Mao to siya kaganina to, ligawas kaganina na result. Divided by net income, kani siya net earnings nga 60,000. So, i-divide nato siya, ang iyahang result is 0.2. Mao na siya ang dividend payout ratio during the year 2020 nga ihatag para sa shareholders. Next is so naitulo ka formula nga gamiton for dividend payout ratio. First is mo to kung ingon ka ganina nga total dividends divided by net income. Ay kaduha kay DPR is equal to 1 minus retention ratio. And number 3, DPR is equal to dividends per share divided by earnings per share. So example, Company A reported a net income of $20 for the year, $20,000 for the year. In the same time period, Company A declared and issued $5,000 of dividends to its shareholder. The DPR calculated it as its follows. So, ang atong gamiton nga formula is kaning pinaka first. Total dividends nga $5,000 divided by net income nga $20,000. Divide nato sila, ang result is 25%. So, ang kanang 25%, mao na siya ang ihatag sa company. And then, unsaon nato pagkuha ang nabilin sa company. Since 25 man ang result, ang ato ang gamiton na pod na next formula is kaning DPR is equal to 1 minus retention ratio. Ang kanang retention ratio kay mao ni siya ang result sa kaning unsa pagpakuha ang kanang ratio para sa nga nasa shareholders. So 1 minus 25% is 75%. So ang 75% mao na siya ang i-keep sa company para sa ilahang growth or expansion. So, mao na siya ang ginatawag na retained earnings. So, next, please.
So, natay do ka example sa dividend policy. First is cash dividend. So, A dividend that is paid out in cash and will reduce the cash reserve of a company. So ang cash dividend kay paid directly in money and recorded as a reduction in the cash and retained earnings account of the company. Then ang bonus share kay refers to the share in the company that are distributed to shareholders at no cost. It is usually done in addition to a cash dividend, not in a place of it. So ang bonus share kay additional shares given to the current shareholders without any additional cost. Pero ang bonus share nga ihatag kay mag-base Japan sa numbers of shares that shareholders own. Like na-slide ratio nga ginasunod depende sa kumpanya. So for example, ang ratio kay 2 to 1. So every 2 share they own, they receive 1 bonus share. So if you own 100 shares, imong madawat nga bonus share kay 50. Next.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. So, example of dividend policies. The dividend policies used by a company can affect the value of the enterprise. The policy chosen must align with the company's goals and maximize its value for its shareholders. The directors need to take a lot of factors into consideration when making this decision, such as the growth prospects of the company and future projects. So, ang dividend policy is maka-apekto siya sa company, sa value sa isa ka company. Maybe ang each policies kina sila ay ginasunod. Dili siya ingon nga sa isa ka company kay tanan policy is ilang gina-apply. So, next please. So, these are the example of dividend policies. Regular dividend policy, stable dividend policy, irregular dividend policy, and no dividend policy. So, sa regular dividend policy. Next, please. Okay. Under the regular policy, dividend policy, the company pays out dividends to its shareholders every year. So, regular siya. So, ang mga shareholders kay need nilang mag-pay out every year. So, if the company makes a loss, the shareholders will still be paid a dividend under the policy. So, biskan pag loss na siya or magkaroon man ng abnormal profits, same ra gihapon na siya, magbayad din gihapon sila. Ang profit kay dili siya mag-distribute sa mga shareholders, but retained earnings siya. Magpabilin gihapon siya sa company as retained earnings. So, the regular dividend policy is used by companies with a steady cash flow and stable earnings. So, sa stable dividend policy during a policy, the percentage of dividend of profits to be paid to shareholders is fixed instead of the amount of the dividends. So, for example, ang company kay na siya payout nga 6%. Mo ni siya ang percentage of profit na paid out. So, kani siya nga is fixed na ni siya. Whether a company makes 1 million or 100 $100,000, fixed dividend na ni siya to be paid out, ay will be paid out. Investing in a company that follows risky investors, as the amount of dividends fluctuates with the level of profits. So, kung ang policy is risky of investors, ang shareholders kay mag-face sila a lot of uncertainty as they are not sure of the exact dividend they will receive. So, dapat sure jud sila. So, next please. Done.
So next is a regular dividend policy. Under the regular dividend policy, the company is under no obligation to pay its shareholder, and the board of directors can decide what to do with the profit. So diriya, ang irregular dividend policy, ang board of directors ang mag-decide if unsaon nila ang profits. Kung ihatag ba nila sa kanang shareholders, kung mag-share ba sila dito or dili kay nalang kanang bali para lang jud na sa ilahang company ba na good. So if they make an abnormal profit in a certain year, they can decide to distribute it to the shareholder or not pay out any dividends at all and instead keep the profits for business expansion and future projects. So matong gingod kaganina nga naadjud sa board of directors ang decision if kanang tagaan ba nilag share ang ilahang kanang shareholder as shareholders or instead i-keep lang nila ang profits para sa ilahang business expansion and future projects. So para sa mga mag-invest ani nga kanang company kay risky para sa ilaha kay wala sila assurance good nga makadawat ba sila nga kuan nga at the end of financial year makadawat ba sila share or dili. Bali wala sila assurance ani nga company. Next is no dividend policy. Under the no dividend policy, the company doesn't distribute dividends to shareholders. It is because any profits earned is retained and reinvest into the business for future growth. So ang no dividend policy, so kuan naman siya sa iyang policy nga wala jud madawat ang mga mag-invest ani nga company di para sa irregular company nga kanang nasa board of directors pa ang decision, while diri sa no dividends policy is walay madawat ang mga shareholders kay the reason why 0% jud ang ilahang dividend kay ga-focus ang kanang company to continue its expansion and growth into new ventures. Ang mga gi-invest sa mga investors, ang profit sa company kay matransfer sa retained earnings account to be used for expansion acquisition. Next please.
So, advantage and disadvantage of dividend policy. The main advantage of having an announced dividend policy is that it reduces investors' insecurity, and reductions in insecurity are generally associated with lower capital costs and higher stock prices, other things being equal. So, advantages sa ilaha kay aside sa gina-reduce ang insecurity sa investors, the lower capital and the higher stock prices kay equal kung siya wala nila mga anak. So the disadvantage is that such a policy might decrease corporate flexibility. So kani siya kay ang tawag ani kani ang flexibility sa isa sa company is mo na siya ang strategy. So if mag-decrease na siya ang ano ang mahitabo ana is tawag ani maapektuhan jud ang apil ang company na to nga nga sa kana nga policy. So next.
Next slide ko, palihog ito. So, maoto siya ang four dividends policy, ang regular, stable, irregular, and no dividend policy, which may help the investors kung dapat ba na sila mag-invest para ang company or dili. Kay kabaluta nga, mas ganahan ba jud ta mag-invest kung nasa tay madawat at the end of the financial year. So, additionally, ang company nga makahatag og share sa mga investor or the dividend payment policy is tungod lang sad na sa ilahang financial performance. So, mao to siya. Thank you.